Earth debate live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, Sensual Goat, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Shambhala.
Shambhala?
How are you?
I went to a Shambhala festival once. It was called Shambhala, and it was music and people juggling and fire and all that sort of usual stuff that you'd have at a festival. It was just called Shambhala. I vaguely remember someone recovering recently using that word for something. What was it? Remind me, Sensual, as you've obviously remembered this word.
It was a cavern within the earth that Admiral Byrd accidentally flew into.
Admiral Byrd flew into it. Yes, this is all starting to ring bells. Some numpty that we covered suggested that Earth had an area that could be accidentally flown into, called Shambhala, accidentally discovered by Byrd. Yeah, who was it that we were covering that covered this utter tripe? This is such a load of nonsense.
It was the cult leader on YouTube channel OSM Visions.
Oh, it's the two black guys from Birmingham. Yeah, correct. I reckon they're from literally the exact same neck of the woods that I'm born and raised in, Moseley Sparkhill. I could tell by the twang. I could be wrong about that. They're going to come back and go, no, we're from somewhere else, you know. Anyway,
what's crazy is he has tens of thousands of subscribers and his videos get thousands of views and he talks absolute nonsense. And here we talk about measurements. And why aren't people interested in measurements, Nathan? Why do they all want fantasy and nonsense?
I'll give you my answer to the best of my ability, right? There is a paved road, metaphorically speaking, that leads numpties who are conspiratards to the subject of flat Earth. From that point, once they've found out Earth is flat, they do not focus on things like measurements. Now, when I say they, I mean me and everybody around me, it would seem. I am just as guilty. I got here looking at subliminal messages and psychopathy. Yeah, so I can't really say that it's any more or less my fault than anybody else's. But having got here, did I look for measurements? No! I wanted the root of the lie. I started interviewing people, the most interesting ones being people who were telling me about the Jesuits and the Roman Catholic Church and the people who invented heliocentrism. And, you know, that was the bit that intrigued me. How did this lie come to fruition? Yeah? Like everybody who comes. So my path was conspiratorial in nature, not measurement-based. 10 years later, we're talking about measurements and decrying all around us who don't. Because that's perfectly reasonable, given 10 years of total tardia from me and everyone around me. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be plenty of people who join the panel today hearing this live probably going, oh no, I didn't do that. And you're like, yeah, okay, I can list at least 2 subjects that are conspiratorial that you've been involved in, right? And that is the path that leads to flat Earth. So what goes in comes out, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put conspiratards at the helm, you're going to get conspiratard nonsense out about the subject rather than measurements. Now, had the notion of a flat Earth been put on the doom scroll shorts videos and TikToks that architects were watching, there's a good chance that they would have looked at this in a very different way than the people who are figuring out what 9/11 truth might be out there on the internet. You know what I mean? So the way the information's been propagated means that we now have a load of conspiratards talking about the subject, which puts a very, very shady light over the subject. Shady light, that's probably not a good metaphor. A shady disposition about flat Earth in general. People think we're idiots because we talk about a lot of idiot stuff that's conspiratorial. So what a surprise. So when it comes to us, the little tiny tadpoles in a massive giant lake that are screaming from the corner, shouldn't we talk about measurements? And trying to sort of go in a bold way to the rest of the tiny little colony in the corner of the lake that we happen to reside in that are talking about flat Earth and say, you know, shouldn't we be talking about measurements rather than ether or Bigfoot? And we're told, just be nice. Like, we're all hippies here. Peace and love. And ether and Bigfoot. What do you mean measurements? Ah, bloody hell. People want fantasy here. And we're fighting a losing battle against the people that surround us. Now, the rest of society, because this is probably an ongoing thing, have, over the generations, also been led to the misapprehension that the people in a subject called Flat Earth are all demented conspiratards, because that's obviously been an ongoing endeavour. Now, to separate that from the people, I just look at Earth and go, it is flat, and how many numpties talking about the subject in irrelevance with conspiratardia doesn't change or alter how Earth is measured, how it functions, and what it is. Even if every last one of us was dead tomorrow, Earth would still be flat. So what we're left with is just poisoned minds that we could, if we chose to, try and leach the poison back out of. But that's very, very, very difficult. So in the meantime, I guess we are doing what we're doing for the very, very, very small percentage of people who get here and go, I really just want to know if Earth's flat or not. And if they're lucky enough to find us, they'll hear about the measurements, know it's flat, and then recognise that being a flat earther is probably not a good idea, because being a flat earther as a person, rather than recognising the measurements of Earth being flat, isn't something that's good in societal terms. Was that an answer to the question? I've forgotten what the question is. I waffled on for so long.
Yeah, I was waiting to get my
can you repeat it all
question
again?
or answer.
Hey, righteous.
I just want to say something quick. I didn't come into the conspiracy route. I came in through watching Star Wars, people reviewing Star Wars and stuff like that. That was my end. Though I do believe in conspiracies, right?
It's not that there's going to be... You're looking at it too black and white. I wasn't looking at psychopathy or subliminal messaging when Flat Earth got played to me. But by virtue of looking generally, you're from the time of certain Windows programs, they were leeching your personal information and logging what you were interested in so they could better advertise to you. So they're going to present, and in the case of YouTube, they just want to keep you on the site. So based on that, they're like, well, Flat Earth is going to be what these guys want. So it doesn't mean that you've happened to have just watched whatever conspiracy you happen to have been interested in 6 months prior, and then Flat Earth's immediately delivered in the next video. I'm saying that algorithmically, they've gathered enough information on a certain type of person, and you've immediately proved me right, because you went, well, I am predisposed to a conspiracy or two. I like them. Right? Well, that means that you're going to have shown those tendencies when they're gathering up your information and scraping it about you. So when you got presented Flat Earth, it hit the mark, right? They did a good job of screening you and presenting you what you wanted.
Nope. Wrong.
You're going to tell me that you braced against it,
when they started showing me FE, I started avoiding it like the plague.
Yeah, but okay, that's fine too, because you can become an anti-Flat Earther. That's no problem. There's a wider picture that's beyond what you ended up being here, Righteous.
But I think the main point is, regardless of how we got here, the main point is that I wanted to get across is that people that are conspiratorial, they do seem a lot more receptive to FE. And
yeah, because it's
like,
presented as a
yes,
because it's presented as a conspiracy when it's not.
When I heard John Sheldon yesterday talk, I got reminded to how he said it took him like at least a year or more until he's seen it. And I was going to say quickly, but I didn't get the chance to say if you were a conspiracy person, you would have got it quicker.
Yeah, well, got
That's
what?
I was going to say yesterday.
Got what? What was to get? 10 years, between 10 years ago and now, when we had that guy that Patricia Steer and Mark Sargent had, or DJ Shadow or something, right? That guy was waffling on about evidence that people would get, like you've just said. But when it came to actually offering some substance to it, there wasn't any. In his instance, he was presenting a rebuttal to the black swan and saying refraction. Like, that was some argument that the only bits that got discussed on Witsit Show that had sunk into him when he's saying people should take this in if only they were capable of taking the red pill, but they immediately decry it. Like, Next Breath is his example, and it's refraction. Like, what was there between 10 years ago and now that people could just accept and understand, as you put it, Righteous?
I wouldn't agree with that, because what gets people for the penny to drop could be vastly different from people to people. So you can't say one argument rules them all.
Correct, brother. Correct. For example, I just want to point this out to people, as much as it's going to piss some people off. But the first foray, some people are coming to this topic now. Just keep in mind, every topic isn't fully saturated. As circles of separation and segues of inclusion close to where new people are coming into the topic, as much as we don't like it, some of the first information they're going to get is going to be from the Tim Pool debate. And because of Tim Pool, and because of the connections, and because of Elon Musk, and because of Twitter, and because of all these other connections that exist, that is going to be how they find their way to flat Earth, as taking it seriously in any way, shape, or form. And that may be the way that they find themselves to our forums and our groups, to where they become a flat earther. So as much as this is going to suck for some people, with its endeavor onto that platform, it's actually going to create flat earthers in the future.
How wonderful. Meanwhile, Earth is what it is, as I was saying at the end of the pre-show. Regardless of the...
No, what is going to happen is he's going to have a bunch of ether believers. That's what you get with him. You don't get flat Earth.
No, I disagree. So, as I didn't actually draw this comparison in the pre-show about Vice, but in terms of the sudden increase that I got, I didn't get some massive influx of people coming to me off the back of the Vice video. Now, that's not to say that me talking about flat Earth in a coherent way on the Vice video didn't mean that people had a start to their journey, but they didn't immediately go to me. Yeah? And I compared it yesterday or the day before in that vein with Witsit. You've got Witsit out endeavouring to increase his popularity, perfectly reasonable. But just by being on the Tim Pool podcast doesn't suddenly mean Witsit per se will have a massive influx of subscribers. But as AI's just pointed out, there will inevitably be people who come to the subject as a result of just hearing it through that. Even if they don't suddenly, like I was comparing with Righteous earlier, don't have the immediately link, it doesn't mean that just because they've listened to Tim Pool's podcast, they'll start typing in flat Earth and looking for it and become a flat earther the next day. It might be 6 months later, it's just suddenly there's a seed planted, as much as I hate to use those terms. Hey, Chocolate.
Good morning.
Good morning. Speaking of which, as we have got a live show on the subject of flat Earth debate, I will ask a couple of housekeeping questions. Fortunately for you all, I have asked a full series of them in the last week, so we won't get all of them today. I'm sure you'll be delighted. But I will ask the most important question. Is there any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon, formerly known as Earth curve.
Simple answer is no.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun? A reflected. I'll take that as a no. Alrighty, we've got a video to cover today. Shout out to Sensual Goat. It is called Help Me Prove Whether the Earth is Flat or Round, Part 2, #FlatEarth. And it's by a channel called Delta Time. So, as is always the case, and it's not Witsit this time, so no one's going to fall out on the panel as a result of me sharing this link and asking you to promote the show on it. But please let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice, polite, non-sweary comment that doesn't immediately get flagged by the YouTube bots and removed, or not passive-aggressive so that the videographers themselves see the need to immediately remove your comment from their video. But just a polite comment that alludes to the fact that we have responded to their video with at Nathan Oakley 1980, all one word. without any gaps, sent me, so that they know where to find this video, and they can listen to what we critique them on, as we have listened to them in response. So, as you can see, I've put it up on screen. There is a link to the Delta. Is it Delta or Data? Can't quite see it in my 4K projector distance. Data team, is it? Or
Data time.
Is it Delta?
Data time.
How do you spell it?
DATA.
It's an A. I can't see it. This looks like an E with my blurry vision. Data time. Okay, so go and check them out. Let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a rude, no, not a rude, sorry, with a polite, not rude comment. And yeah, hopefully they'd do the same for me if they were to make a response. Having watched our video, you'd hope they'd put a link to my video saying, oh yeah, check it out, this video guy made a video about us, here's our response to him. And they'd put a link to this video if they were to respond. Chance would be a fine thing. How big are they? 63 subs, 63k. So they're a reasonable size channel, slightly bigger than us. Not massive, but not small either. So I'm sure they'd be very grateful, like I would be, of comments coming my way. And, you know, that generally helps you up the YouTube algorithm and the algorithmic love that we definitely don't receive from YouTube. Everybody's grateful for when they get comments appearing and likes appearing and, you know, some other segue in YouTube's web of linking them to another video that gets them more views. So I'm sure they'll be delighted with your comment, and hopefully me waffling on about leaving a comment saying at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me has actually given somebody in the live stream, at least one of you, the opportunity to disappear and not miss anything when you come back. So yeah, that's why I keep these calls to action relatively lengthy while I'm doing a live show, so that you do actually do it if you're watching live now, and there's 72 of you watching right now, so please actually do this. I'm not saying it for my health. I'm saying it for the algorithmic love that Data Time will receive when you go and leave them a comment right now. I think that's enough waffle. Did I do that for long enough? I think so. I haven't actually sound checked this yet. Oh no, I think I did before we started recording. Okay, so we'll start right from the beginning because these guys get right into it. Unless there's any preamble from you, Sensual.
Just that they will talk about materials that they're using at some point. A bit too much. You might want to just press skip there, Jay, across that.
Just pipe up when it comes. It's not a very long video. It's only 11 minutes, so you never know. We might get it done by next week sometime.
We need your help to prove whether the Earth is flat or round. In my last video, we looked at how ancient scientists were able to measure the size of the globe by just using...
Oh, there we go. Straight away, we're into... No, it's not a debate. No, you need no answer beyond the measurements of Earth, which are flat, and ancient scientists, they are not. This is not cause and effect reasoning based on hypothesis. It will be based on, what, 9 seconds? Based on a flat Earth measurement that we're going to get to shortly, won't it? We're going to need some angles. I only played 9 seconds of this before we started recording, and I'm like, this is going to be great.
Sticks and shadows. We then compare that to what those shadows should look like in the flat Earth model. You can't measure the shape of the Earth with nonsense sticks and shadows.
No, correction, you can't measure a globe with elevation angles off a curved surface, but you will be using angles that have a flat Earth as a prerequisite to achieve them. They're all on a flat baseline, they're angles. Everyone, without exception, measures Earth flat. These two guys, they measure Earth flat too. And now there might be globe believers, we don't really know that just yet. But regardless, they're going to be measuring Earth flat. Why? Because Earth's flat, and that's how we measure it. If you want anything to be practically applied to a measurement of Earth, it'll be flat, because that's what Earth is. Flat.
I think I can. In this video, I'm going to show you my best attempt to build a cheap contraption that makes it easy for anyone on Earth to measure their latitude using nonsense sticks and shadows.
You mean elevation angles with respect to Polaris? Go ahead, whoever that was from G+.
Nah, he said latitude, and I said, uh-oh.
Yeah, you're going to need a flat Earth for latitude. You're going to be measuring an angle with respect to a flat baseline to the star known as Polaris, as he just detailed. Now, he keeps decrying these nonsense sticks and shadows. No, we're talking about elevation angles, right? What we go through on a regular basis, because it's a flat Earth prerequisite in the measurement. It's the only measurement that's going to be taken in this example, and he will need we will all need a flat Earth for it.
Anyone? Yes. And by the end of this video, I'll show you how you can help me measure the shape of the Earth where you live using my new contraption.
No. See, when you say the shape of the Earth, flat's not a shape. The aspect you will need for the angle that your contraption, you've already shown the methodology in just a few edited frames to keep your intro snappy, told me everything I need to know about the Earth that is flat that you will measure with your contraption. So, you won't be measuring any shapes when you have a flat baseline for an angle. That's not a shape. A plane is an aspect, at best. Definitely not a shape. But that's just describing the aspect of Earth you're measuring, and it is flat. That will be calculable into a sphere after the fact. You said you'd be measuring shape. Wrong. I already know this is a falsehood. You are incorrect.
Since we're on that, just a slight correction. If he does listen to this, he said he wants to measure if it's flat or round. Well, round doesn't necessarily mean spherical. So yeah, you could have something flat and round. So
Yeah, flat and round are not mutually exclusive. You can have a flat round penny.
Exactly.
Enough talk, more data. It's data time!
I'm data.
So the whole point of this tool is to be able to easily measure the angle of the sun without having to do a lot of math or trigonometry. Ugh, I hate doing math. Exactly. To this end, I've printed out all of the angles for a given height of a gnomon or pole. The lines on the paper are concentric circles.
Welcome to Flat Earth. Say it with me. Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Snacks in the bag.
Height and angles.
Yeah, we're done here, lads. Day at a time. This is it. This is it. Game over. How many seconds are we in? We've had your full intro, your preamble with everything I needed to see. We're 1 minute and 11 in, and welcome to Flat Earth. This is a Flat Earth prerequisite. The circles, two-dimensional, are on a flat plane. This is what you'll be measuring, is it? Well, you'll be measuring a flat Earth then.
That lists the angle of the sun all the way out to about 70 degrees. Why?
Degrees, what? The angle with respect to the sun on a flat plane? That would be a flat Earth prerequisite also. Should we keep counting? That's 2.
Stop there. Well, as the angle of the sun gets lower, the length of the shadow gets exponentially larger, and this device would have to become way too big in order to record the shadow. So,
off a flat plane with respect to its angle to the sun. So we're talking about measuring angles off flat planes then. Okay? Yeah, we're going to be measuring Earth flat, lads. You wanted to know at the beginning of your video what shape it was. I mean, that's a bit of a category error. Nevertheless, it's based on your obvious now fundy predisposition to a sphere Earth belief to request a shape be divulged in this process. You've already done it yourselves, lads. You've measured Earth flat and will be detailing to an audience how to measure Earth flat, won't you?
So 70 degrees was about as far as I could reasonably go while keeping the size of the device small, but still big enough to record accurate measurements. Is that long enough? Well, if you use it on the equinox, this length will work for everyone south of 70 degrees north latitude.
Sorry, what do you mean will work? You can't get an elevation angle measurement off a curved surface. You can only get it off a flat baseline. I mean, we're not talking about any models or anything. We're just talking about measuring an angle off the ground. That's what you're actually doing. Why are we suddenly into, oh, it's a false dichotomy fallacy? So suddenly the latitudes, where'd you get latitude measurements? If you're going to infer that one of your false dichotomy suppositions of a globe has latitude, where'd you measure latitude from? Oh, that would be an elevation angle to Polaris measured also with a flat plane and an angle to the star Polaris to give you latitude on a ball? No, they're flat Earth measurements to give you the latitude to infer this ball. What's this? An azimuthal equidistant projection of a ball? that came from flat Earth angle measurements to Polaris? It seems like you've got a flat Earth projection of a ball and a ball Earth projection of a flat plane that came from a flat Earth angle measurement to Polaris. What are you doing giving us this false dichotomy nonsense when your angle measurement that you'll be making going forward and the latitude in both models is measured on a flat plane? You've answered your question, that's 3. Latitude, yeah, that's 3, mate. You've already got your answer, Earth's measured flat.
So it won't work in northern Greenland, but it'll work just about everywhere else in the world where people live. Sorry.
By work? What do you mean, work? It's a contraption for measuring an angle. It'll work wherever you decide that you want to plonk it down, level it, and get an angle from it. There's no issue with where this functionally useful for angle device that you've concocted may or may not work. Oh, did you mean with respect to the false dichotomy models that you put up on screen? Where they will... I couldn't give a shit. You're just measuring an angle off a flat Earth. Beyond the angle you measure off a flat Earth, I'll just take the angle you measure off a flat Earth as the proof that you're measuring, you, not me, a flat Earth. And without this measurement of a flat Earth, you can't do anything else. So, but for the fact that you will be and are going to measure a flat Earth, do we need anything else? You've measured a flat Earth. Oh, I should buy into the false dichotomy of a latitude-based globe based on angle measurements off a flat Earth that then gets projected azimuthal, equidistant, North Pole centric. No, that's just a stupid false dichotomy that has also come from flat Earth angle measurement origins.
Sorry, Greenland. Now we have to handle one of the most sensitive parts of this device, which is the angle of the pole and platform. Why are those so sensitive? In order to get an accurate reading of the angle of the shadow, this device has to be perfectly level on the ground, and
you need a perfectly level ground to do this. Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. Welcome to flat Earth. That's 4. So you'll need to level it with respect to the ground. You didn't have that on your globe model that came from latitude measurements of a flat Earth, now did you? You can't get a surface that's flat on a spherical surface. It's preposterous. So just so we understand where we're at, because immediately after putting up the false dichotomy, you've explained why one of your false dichotomy, not the flat plane azimuthal equidistant globe projection that he thinks is a flat Earth, is in any way justified either. But your globe definitely fails because you can't level the tool on a globe. So what we left with in your false dichotomy is your belief, not mine, in the world being azimuthal equidistant projection of a globe based on latitude measurements of a flat Earth. That's your belief, not mine. Idiotic. But just so we know which part of your false dichotomy failed immediately, it was the globe bit because you can't level anything on it. Ever. Just so we're clear, in case you thought your false dichotomy was still valid.
the pole has to be perfectly vertical. If the pole isn't standing straight up...
That's 5. No, was it 5 already? 6. Vertical? You can't have vertical on a sphere. You're not going to be perpendicular to Jack if you've got a curved surface below you. You can have in and out, and that's about it. So you're not going to have up, you're not going to have vertical, you're not going to have horizontal. None of these things are applicable to a globe. They are absolutely, without question, proving Earth's flat, though, because you can only have perpendicular to a flat surface. You can only have parallel with it and angles from it if it's flat. So that's 6. Why are you even asking this question, lads? You know you're measuring Earth flat, don't you?
Up, the shadows won't fall on the correct point on the paper.
Well, he's obviously somebody who appreciates data. So every time you point out how many times he's using a flat Earth, I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
I don't know what you mean.
He's someone who appreciates data. So you counting how many times he uses a flat Earth, he'll appreciate that data that you're giving him.
Data time! Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just needed to buy a bit of time to cue my camera up. It was worth it for the gag. Second time's a charm.
The angle will also be wrong. Remember, we're trying to decide whether the Earth is flat or round based on the difference.
You've just measured it flat,
models. Though. And in many cases...
Right, is it flat or is it round? Now look at my flat Earth diagram of flat Earth angles off a flat surface that we've leveled to the surface that's flat for these angles that are flat. Why are you asking this question, you boneheads?
It's only going to be different by a few degrees.
that are only capable of measurement of a flat surface. Why? Hold the hell up. So why does this say globe Earth, and then you've got a very necessary flat line to describe any angle off it ever? If this was a globe Earth, gentlemen, you wouldn't be making angles from it. You can't measure angles from a curve. Data time? Are you stupid? Why am I, a flat earther, having to educate these dickheads with arms in there like they know what data means, when they're supposing that you can acquire an angle from a curve? No, sir. No, gentlemen. You cannot get a globe Earth angle. That's an oxymoron. You don't get angles from curves. Do you know what an angle is, boys? Clearly not, because you've made this slide, haven't you, dickheads? Now you're being called a stupid idiot glurf dickhead by me, Nathan Oakley. Let me introduce myself. I'm a flat earther, and I'm telling you, data time dickheads, you cannot have a globe Earth angle, because then it would be meeting at a curve. Maybe look up the definition of angle, you stupid boys. You're having to be told by a flat earther there is no globe Earth angle? Oxymoron much? Not to mention the fact that 6 times you've already measured a flat Earth to get to this stupid oxymoronic point where you juxtapose a globe Earth angle. Are you insane? No, sir. Like your diagram, flat Earth angles, yeah, that's a prerequisite. Yeah, you'll need that to get an angle. It's a prerequisite for it to be an angle. As for this globe Earth shit that you've got written here, now that's just your stupidity, lads. Yeah, your idiocy has led you to believe that you can get elevation angles from curves. No, look up the definition of angle. That'd be 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex. This is a vertex. This is 1 straight line to meet the definition of an angle, and this is another. Could this line be globe Earth? Definitely not, lads. It seems you need to make some corrections. I'll expect you to thank me in your attraction for your shit. That obviously demonstrates you don't know what an angle is, because you've labelled it with a curve next to it. Like it somehow makes sense. My name's Nathan Oakley. You can put a link to this video and thank me for the education I've given you for free. Yeah? Me highlighting your dumbass stupidity that you're poisoning audiences with this globe Earth angle. Wrong. Yeah, you can remove this shitty video from the web. Get rid of it. And you can remake it and praise the flat earther that corrected your stupid shite that you poisoned audiences within the first 3 minutes of your video. It's not allowed. It's not tolerated. We don't accept this shit. Yeah? You've been put on blast, Delta Time. Yeah? Put on blast by me, the flat earther, Nathan Oakley. I mean, Nathan Oakley!
Especially if you're close to the equator. The more accurate we can make this contraption, the better. So how are you going to make sure everything is leveled properly? That's the next step. I need to actually build a platform to support the paper and vertical pole so that everything is angled correctly. For that,
This sounds like they're going to get into materials. Am I wrong?
It could be.
cardboard to mark where I think the shadow should be. Using info from sencalc.org and some trigonometry, I mark the angles that I expect to see at my location this time of year. So
the angles you would expect with respect to a horizontal plane of reference that you'd see this year, you'll need a flat earth for them. Right, back on track. I picked a good point to pick it back up.
Somewhere between 32 and 33 degrees elevation.
Elevation? That's 7. Sorry, elevation's described with respect to sea level. Now, I think, I know, he means elevation angle, because that's what he's doing. But elevation, as you mentioned it, specifically, end quote you, is with respect to sea level. Heights of stuff is with respect to a flat plane also. You can't describe anything's height unless you've got a flat plane to describe it from. universally, we take an average of the sea, that's sea level, and describe heights from that flat plane of reference that is sea level. So altitude, yeah, that's a flat Earth prerequisite also. Now, if you're talking about elevation, end quote you, angle measurement, yeah, that, as we've already gone through in the other 6 that you used in regards to flat Earth measurements that you'll be needing to make, you'll definitely be talking about elevation angle measurements off a flat Earth, but we've already covered those.
The shadow of my cardboard indicator should appear in between these 2 marks. I test this out with my light to ensure its visibility. Now, I go outside one sunny morning to test how much of an effect the wiggle room has on my reading. Initially, the shadow indicator looks roughly accurate, but if the platform isn't completely horizontal, the shadow...
Come again? If the platform's not level with the ground completely and perfectly, if you haven't got a perfectly flat ground and the cardboard referencing a surface that is perfectly flat, your curved Earth won't give you that. That's like something that's never going to be possible. And as I keep pointing out, a flat Earth prerequisite. Whoever was trying to join G+, I wasn't quick enough. Just try again.
shadow can move off its mark. It looks like it could be off by about ½ degree here. The vertical pole
½ degree on a flat Earth only.
Also has some play in it. It looks like it can cause a similar amount of error in the reading. I'm going to go back at high noon and try to get a better reading. Well, it looks like in less than an hour, our sunny morning turned into a cloudy noon.
Oh, bummer. You won't be able to make any elevation angle measurements with respect to a perfectly level flat plane that you've referenced for your angle that you're measuring on a flat Earth. What a shame.
Got my time-lapse recording all set up to record the shadow at noon, and this is literally all I got. 7 minutes of overcast shadow, and the sun didn't come out for the rest of the day. Actually, the pages cap on the top of the pole and test it out. It's starting to look a bit more manageable. Let's test it outside.
Okay, finally it's sunny and I can test this with real sun. And it
Being more continuous. All right, it's starting to look a bit more manageable. Let's test it outside.
okay.
What's this? Is this a spirit level? Oh, it's a good job we've seen this just to make sure we're absolutely abundantly aware that you've got to have a horizontal plane of reference perfectly level for this elevation angle measurement that needs a flat Earth to measure it. Good job you put this in frame. I mean, it didn't get another mention from you, but I'll make sure the audience that I've got knows that your diagram earlier that I tore you a new one over, you know, with respect to having a globe Earth angle. I mean, with this diagram here in this little thumbnail, would it be the case that you're leveling to the globe Earth? An impossibility? I mean, where does the bubble sit with regards to a curved surface? It doesn't. You know, you're checking how flat you've got it. Yeah? I expect a retraction. I mean, I want you to let Delta Time know this guy's put you on blast. Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and he's put you on blast. You made an egregious error in regards to angle acquisition and described it diagrammatically like it can come from a curved surface. Something we would find so egregious, given that we have spent literally years asking daily if you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. We literally ask that question daily. That's why, Delta Time, it is so egregious to us when you do this. That's why I've sent my audience to you with a request that they let you know that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, so that you can correct this egregious error where you think you can acquire elevation angle measurements from curved baselines. Outrageous. Please let them know. There's a link going by in the chat. Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, I'm just
Not
calling
only
people
have
to
we-
action. Go ahead, Chocolate.
Not only have we asked the question, but we've been told by people on their own side that it is measured flat. So maybe go ask them why they're measuring it flat. You think you're here measuring it round, quote unquote.
Yeah, there's 7 examples in the first 4 minutes, I think, where you can point out that they're measuring a flat Earth to do anything. They just then superimpose a violation of an angle acquisition in this suggestion of a globe Earth angle. I mean, it's outrageous. Like I say, we ask for this evidence daily. Just slapping it on something that's clearly got 2 straight lines with lots of angles detailed on it, and then just by fiat, globe Earth slapped on there. Absolutely outrageous. Let him know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
Finally, it's sunny, and I can test this with real sun. And it looks like the wiggle that I was worried about isn't too big of an issue. I mean, it is changing the degrees, but it's not as bad. It's still like within less than a degree at this latitude. So
Less than a degree of difference with respect to two straight lines meeting at a vertex with respect to the horizontal plane that you're referencing with that spirit level there. This is a flat Earth measurement, mate. It is that simple. Now, you've appealed to your audience at the beginning of your video to let you know which way it's going to go. Well, you're doing nothing but making flat Earth measurements over and over again and showing your failings when you don't have the sun to make your flat Earth angle measurement. So, I mean, I don't know what more there is to do. I'm pretty sure we're going to now segue, now you've got a bit of data off of flat Earth, into your calculations of a globe. Let's see what happens. I mean, I could be wrong.
maybe it's not as big of a concern.
Here is a time-lapse video of the shadow moving at midday. You need to record the value of the shadow at high noon, which you can do with an app like SunCalc. Or you can just record it throughout the middle of the day, and whenever the shadow is the shortest, that's when we are at high noon, or solar noon, when the sun is at its highest peak in the sky. Here we can see another issue with recording our shadow.
The issue is not an issue. It's a measurement of a flat Earth. You're looking for answers, now you've got them.
The pointed tip helps us record an exact value, but even a pointed tip is blurry on the page. Can't you just sharpen the end of the foam rod? No, it's not due to its point. It's due to the sun's angular size. What? Up till now, we've been assuming the sun is a point light source. But the sun has a diameter, and so light is actually shining from multiple locations across its surface. This means that the shadows cast from the sunlight aren't sharp. They are a little bit blurry. Based on the sun's diameter and distance from the Earth, its angular...
Where'd you get those?
Distance.
Distance from the Earth. What I'm seeing now is him giving an example of an angle measurement to the sun. And he's saying that based on its distance and diameter? No, the diameter's extrapolated from Kepler and Huygens. Based on flat Earth angle measurements in the first instance, to derive sphericity, put it in orbital motion, make it elliptical, and then scale it with Venus. Go ahead, Chocolate.
How would you even get the diameter if you think it has one? If the sun's not in its actual size ever, and it's not in its actual position.
I'll tell you.
How you getting that?
I'll tell you. You derive a value for a sphere Earth based on the minimum elevation angle to Polaris. You then take that value and put it in heliocentric motion around the sun as a sphere, orbital motion. You then modify the orbital motion from circular to elliptical, and then you scale the whole system that has no distance values thus far with a transit of a light in the sky called Venus across the sun. By ascribing that, the value that you originally got by deriving the minimum elevation angle to Polaris for a sphere-shaped Earth, onto Venus, you can scale the whole system and give the sun a radial value and obviously diameter, and a distance from us, with that ingenious assumption of Venus being the same size as a flat Earth measured, inferred, spherical, radial value of Earth. I thank you.
So start with an assumption, and the rest is you're golden. Okay, great.
Not quite. Start with a flat Earth measurement of an angle to Polaris. Earth gets measured flat for the starting point, the genesis of heliocentric nonsense. It all starts with a flat Earth. And an angle measurement in this instance is where this process begins. Like their process begins, not their process per se, but when they infer sphericity in distance and diameter, you need a flat Earth to infer it. It's a lot more convoluted, and I can summarize it in about 30 seconds. Nevertheless, that's what they're suggesting. That's where it actually comes from. Please share the show. Over 100 people watching. If you've not smashed the share button, I appreciate all of you who've toddled along to data time to tell them that you've been sent by me. But also, if you haven't done so already, of course, smash the share button for this show. It's live right now, and we're covering something quite interesting. There's only a couple of minutes left on this video that we're responding to. And yeah, if you have gone along to data time and told them that I sent you, thank you very much.
size in the sky is about 1/2 of a degree. This means that shadows cast from the sun will also have a blurriness of 1/2 a degree, which is why our readings can never really be more accurate than 1/2 a degree. If we take a photograph of the shadow's blurriness, then there are some ways to use software to take the average of the blur. But actually, I think with all of the other factors affecting your accuracy, 1/2 a degree is pretty good for our purposes. I think that if this device is accurate to within 1 degree, I'll be happy.
Me too, because the moment you say degree, you tied yourself to a flat earth in terms of the measurement. So yeah, accurate to within 1/2 a degree or 1.5 degrees. I don't care. You need a flat earth for it to be a degree at all, because it's angle measurements, isn't it? One of them's the baseline. That's Earth, the thing you leveled your tool to.
Remember that the flat and globe Earth models will have a larger divergence.
No, this is why I'm calling for a retraction, you bullshitting idiots. It's one or the other. So I'll just call you both. Globe Earth doesn't have an angle. You can't get an elevation angle from a curved baseline. That is not possible. For it to be an angle, it can only be a flat baseline. It's an angle. It's utterly absurd and requires retraction. And thanks to the person who pointed out your error. That's me. My name's Nathan Oakley, the one calling you idiots for getting this so wrong, thinking incorrectly that Globe Earth had angles to offer. No. We've spent quite a considerable amount of time bracing against this by asking very specifically how you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. And there are you with a spirit level slapping on Globe Earth. No, don't just use flat Earth measurements. It's outrageous. Especially in a video when you're asking the question, well, is it a globe shaped or a flat shape? In a category error when measuring aspects with angles. Yeah, this needs retracting. Remake your video and say we put out a video asking if Earth was flat, but we failed to appreciate that we measured it flat multiple times and then took those measurements and put them on a diagrammatical example that suggested the globe Earth would give you angles. How stupid were we? Thanks to Nathan Oakley 1980 and his wonderful channel and panel members for pointing out our egregious error. So we've corrected our video and now accept that we measure Earth flat. Nothing else in the video needs to be changed. Here's our flat Earth measurements again. Because that's how everyone measures Earth, and that's how we measured it. We just slapped the words globe Earth next to angles, like idiots. Didn't you, lads? Data time!
At latitudes farther from the equator. So if we take measurements closer to the north or south
Equator? What's that? I'm losing count. I think that's 7. Equator, you'll need a flat Earth for an equator. Where do you think you're measuring this shit? Oh my God. Can you stop using flat Earth measurements to make your stupid sphere assumptions in false dichotomies and descriptions diagrammatically that don't work because they're not angles? Oh my God. Go ahead, Chocolate.
No, I didn't say anything.
Was it you, Central? Someone on G Plus came off mute. No one wants to own to it, up to it. No worries.
poles, we should be fine with a 1 degree accuracy. Okay, now I just want to build some better cross supports and see if I can get the platform to sit horizontally better. Then
Did you say horizontally previously? Because if not, I'm going to count that as 8. Because I don't think you used the word horizontally. You'd used vertically. You used horizontally? I'm losing track. I'm going to...
Yeah, he did.
He did say horizontally specifically previously. Okay, I won't count it. You can't have horizontal on a globe. There is no such thing. You've got in and out at best. That's it. There's no horizontal to refer to. But yet you've got a couple of spirit levels and you're making absolutely sure that you level it with respect to the ground. Okay? You don't have that if you're going to use your false dichotomy and say, data time, globe, angles. No, that's got flat earthers demanding retractions from you. So you can't use this term. Stop using our terms. You don't have horizontal on a globe.
Then I glue the paper in place on the boards of the platform. And finally, I bought my 3rd set of screw levelers, and I'm going to give it one last try before giving up on them. I drill bigger holes for them and glue them into position.
Gotta get that level. Go ahead. Eli, is it just you pop micing in Discord? It is. Yes, it is. Eli, can you go on mute? Eli. Eli! Someone temporarily serve a mute Eli because he's messing up my live stream. Nope, nobody's doing it. Sorry, Eli, I gotta serve and mute you.
Once the glue dries, I see if they will work this time. Finally, I think we have some levelers that actually work.
Gotta get it level. You can't have that on a globe. Good job you're measuring Earth flat and making absolutely sure you get it perfectly flat. Look at all those lovely flat Earth angles. Wonderful, wonderful.
Success! And here it is, my first sundial, or whatever it's called. Comment below if you have a better name for this thing.
I'm going to call it the Flat Earthimation.
This is definitely not going to win any awards, but it is relatively cheap and simple to make
And proves the flat Earth. Wicked. Couldn't agree more. I'm glad I'm not going to be... Oh, I won't be doing this. I don't need to. I just need to see these numbers. As soon as you mentioned angles, I knew you would be measuring Earth flat. I didn't need to build Jack. But thanks for doing it all the same. Wonderful. You will need to retract this shit video, though. I mean, you've made all the efforts and gone to the expense and made absolutely sure it's level. And then, for some unknown reason, put in your little chart there, globe Earth angles. You're going to need to retract this video. You know, making a demand. You're on blast. So you're going to need to remake it. Make special thanks to me right at the start. But this needs to go. This needs off the internet. It's misinformation. Yeah?
should be fairly easy to assemble. It's just PVC pipes with some boards and paper on them. And the plumb bob. Actually, I think the plumb bob is not really that useful.
Is it not? Well, if for establishing vertical it is. Vertical, you know, isn't going to be something you get on a globe. In and out isn't vertical, and it won't have anything perpendicular to it horizontal either. So, plumb bobs and horizontals and getting stuff level, yeah, all of this is way beyond your comprehension on a globe, and none of it will give you an angle on a globe. You just seem to be utilizing that's our flat Earth measurements to ask a question in false dichotomy. It's pretty sad, lads. But like I say, I'm going to need that retraction. This is going to need taking down. Chop, chop.
And just adds to the build complexity, so I'm going to remove it. Good riddance. But that's it. I'm still not happy with it and want it to be simpler and cheaper and more robust, but...
What, to answer the question, you need the better equipment? Oh, no, I'll alleviate you of that concern. You don't need to improve it at all. In the method, no matter how well you make this device, you'll be measuring angles off a flat Earth, won't you, lads? No matter what you do and how well you do it, it'll be a flat Earth prerequisite for the angles in the base principle that you're using. You don't even need a tool at all. Go ahead. Hey, Eli. Hey, 10th.
Good morning. Good morning. Man, what a joke of a video.
No, it's just they just keep using our measurements. It's the cheek of it.
You go to that first graph that he had, the green line, I think it was, showing the angle measurements, but not using a sphere. Are you there?
I'm looking for it.
Yeah, it's the one that you referenced all the time. The beginning.
Yeah, I can't seem to find it. You chat away, Al. Oh, I've got it.
Okay.
What up, man?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing, Chaco? So look at what he's got there. And I'm not sure if, because it's so small on my screen, but I see up to 20 degrees that matches both flat and globe. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's 1,200 nautical miles of flat. How can that exist on the globe?
Can't.
Okay. So right there, he doesn't realize what he's doing, even though the rest of the stuff is crap. Because he's got an elevation angle, two straight lines meeting at a vertex, perpendicular relationship. But he's basically saying, I get 20%, I'm sorry, 20%, 20 degrees and 20 degrees. Okay, well, if that's coming from your vertical, that's 1,200 nautical miles, all has to be reference flat. So how in the world do you even assume 8 inches per mile square or anything
They don't.
that resembles the sphere? It's just nonsense.
That's what I'm saying. It's so egregious. They're just taking a flat Earth measurement and just, well, plonk the word globe next to it. It's be all right. Like, no.
He did,
Nothing works anymore for you.
well, he did more than that. He went, when he said the sun is a point light source, and then he showed divergent rays. Now, what are we told by everyone? The sun is so far away that the rays are what? Parallel. But
Actually,
he's showing divergent rays.
I'd just like to slap in the anti-flat Earth words in here. Almost parallel.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that divergence. And then he went to distance, as in height. But when it's the angular height that's important, not the actual distance in celestial navigation. And then we got circle of equal altitude, which makes 5,400 nautical miles all have to be flat. And you can double that to 10,800 if someone on the other side has the same angle to the same sun, if it's 90 degrees. And then he says reference frame. Well, what is a reference frame? It's an assumption that it's on a 180 plane. So he never even used the sphere.
No, they just use flat Earth measurements.
And then to top it off, and this will be the last, the fundamental reference plane or frame, whichever way you want, is the equatorial plane in the center of a circle that they say is their paradigm globe. Well, that is a 180 straight angle. If that's the fundamental reference plane, that matches flat Earth. That doesn't at all prove a spherical shape, because you can't get an elevation angle from a spherical shape. So in every way, this whole thing died from the onset.
More robust, but this is the gist of it. It definitely works better farther from the equator, but then again, that's where the flat Earth model and the globe Earth model show the greatest differences. You said they could help.
See, I mean, I can't believe it. I just said it, and you're showing the picture of it.
Give them the same.
Right. If you're interested in having one of these devices to measure the shadows of the sun, send me an email, and I'll see if I can start sending out prototypes for people to test.
Now, I'm not suggesting that my audience should follow his instructions and send him a message at datatime27@gmail.com with regards to this show, because I've obviously already called you to action in regards to letting them know in their comments section, boosting them in the YouTube algorithmic love, that we definitely don't receive as flat earthers.
Everyone gets one. Well, I don't know how quickly I can get these out to people. I'm not a factory. I'll probably just send out a few prototypes to people in order to get feedback before making more and selling them for a small price. The cost is starting to add up. Either way, if you're interested, get in contact with me and I'll try and get them out as soon as possible.
Yeah, you do that. We want as many people measuring a flat earth as possible. I mean, obviously, you know, you're going to need to tidy up this video when you put it out again without the errors that we've pointed out. I mean, you wouldn't want Data Time to be called frauds and charlatans, given that you're now trying to get money from your egregious errors. Now, I wouldn't want to call you frauds. I am going to demand a retraction, though, because it's wrong, fundamentally. Anybody got anything else to add?
His outro is worth watching for a bit of a laugh.
Will we get enough information to prove whether the Earth is flat or round? Who knows? Maybe we can get enough people interested that during future equinoxes and solstices, we can all go outside and record the sun's location on the same day and build an actual model of the size and shape of the Earth from the data. More data! It's data time!
Did he say the equinoxes was his reference as for the time to do it?
Yeah, he's going to need a flat earth for that too.
Well, that's called the vernal equinox, and that's when they consider the Earth stationary and the stars are moving, and you have a 180-degree flat plane all the way to the celestial sphere. So the reference there is a flat Earth. I mean, these guys have no clue what they just stepped into.
No, absolutely. Any other comments? Thanks, Sensual. That was great.
Thank you. It was a great laugh.
Right, well, if there's nothing more to add, I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member. Hit data time up and let them know that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me and all that good stuff. Obviously, another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Data time! For Quantum Eraser live on the Quantum Eraser YouTube channel. That's at 2 PM Central Standard, 7 PM UK. Stay tuned for the after show.